So hi guys, today I'm going to discuss about the summary of the chapter 8, which is entitled Subnetting IP Networks. So um, in this chapter, it examines in detail the creation, assignment of IP network and subnetwork addresses through the use of subnet. So subdividing a networks add a level to the network hierarchy and creating in essence so the three levels a network, a subnetwork, and a host. Introducing an additional level to the hierarchy creates additional subgroups within an IP network so that facilitates faster packets delivery and added filtration by helping to minimize local traffic. So we have the we have the subnetting we have the subnetting and IPv4 network. So um broadcast domain. So in Ethernet LAN, device uses broadcast to locate the other devices and the services. So for the other devices, a device uses address resolution protocol or the ARP, which send layer to send layer 2 broadcast to known IPv4 addresses on the local network to discover the associated MAC address. And for the services, a host typically acquire its IPv4 addresses configurations using the dynamic host configuration protocol or the DHCP, which send broadcast on the local network to locate a DHCP server. So um, A large uh, a large broadcast domain is a network that connects many hosts. So a problem with a large broadcast domain is that these hosts can generate excessive broadcasts and negatively affect the network. So um so it can slow network operations due to significant amount of traffic it can cause and slow device operation because a device must accept and process each broadcast packet. And the reason for subnetting is subnetting reduces the overall network traffic and improves network performance. It also enables an administrator to implement security policies such as which subnet are allowed or not allowed to communicate together. So, network administrator can group devices and services into subnet that are determined by location, such as floor in buildings, organizational unit, or and device type. And the last one is any other division that makes sense for the network. So, the octet binary. So every interface on router is connected to a network. So the IPv4 address and the subnet mask configured on the router interface are used to identify the specific broadcast domain. So recall that the prefix length and the subnet mask are different ways of identifying the network portion of an address. So the next one is the address schemes. So So planning net so in network address planning, planning network subnets require examples of both the needs of an organization's network usage and how the subnet will be structured. So performing a requirements study is the starting point. So means that looking at the entire network and determining the main section of the network and how they will be segmented. So the address plan includes determining the needs of each subnet in terms of size. So how many hosts per subnet and how many address will be assigned or which host will require static IPv4 addresses and which host can use DHCP for obtaining their addressing information. So in planning to address the network. So there are three primary considerations for planning uh, address allocation are displayed. So in preventing the duplication of the addresses refers to the fact that each host in the internetwork must have a unique address. So without the proper planning and documentation, an address could be assigned to more than one host, so resulting in access issue for both hosts. So providing and controlling access refers to the fact that some hosts, such as server, provides resources to internal hosts as well as the external host. So and monitoring security and performance of host means network traffic is examined for source IP address that are generating or receiving excessive packets. If there is a proper planning and documentation of the network addressing, problematic network device should easily be found. For the for the last one is the ASAN consideration for the IPv6. So the IPv6 global unicast addresses. So the IPv6 subnetting requires a different approach than IPv4 subnetting. So the same reason for subnetting IPv4 addresses space in order to manage network traffic also applied to IPv6. So however, due to the large number of IPv6 addresses, there are no longer the number cons- there's is no longer the concern of conserving addresses. So the IPv6 address can focus on the best hierarchical approach to manage and assign IPv6 subnets. So IPv4 subnetting is not only about limiting broadcast domains, but it's also about managing addresses scarcity. So determining the subnet mask and the use of the BLSM is done to help conserve IPv4 addresses. So IPv6 subnetting is not considered with conserving address space. The subnet the subnet ID includes more than enough subnet. So IPv6 subnetting is about building and addressing hierarchical based on the number of subnets needed. And um and subnet the subnet ID provides more than enough subnet and host support than will ever be needed in one subnet. So for instance, the 16-bit section can create to 65,536 62 and 64 subnets. So this does not include the possibility of borrowing any bits from interface ID of the address and support up to 18 quadrillion host IPv6 addressing per subnet. So like subnetting into the 64-bit interface ID or the host portion is also possible, but it's rarely required. So like IPv6 subnetting is also easier to implement than the IPv6 because there's no conversion to binary requirements. So and for the like uh the IPv6 subnetting requires a different approach than so IPv6 address space is not subnetted to conserve addresses, rather it is subnetted to support hierarchical logical design of the network. So while IPv6 subnetting is about managing address scarcity, IPv6 subnetting is about building an address hierarchy based on the number of the routers they supported. So like we can you can be careful in planning is requirement to make the best use of available address space. So the size, location, use, and taxes requirements are all consideration in the address planning process. So that's all for the chapter 8 summary. So I hope you learn in this summary in this chapter. So thank you guys for watching.